Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. As I was preparing to do this show, I wanted to talk about a couple of key trends that one shows up every time this time of the year, which is the dog days of summer. It's very reminiscent of the last week of the year after tax loss selling has taken place, and because people are away on summer vacations, the volume is down, and therefore stocks can get beaten down quite aggressively. We've also got a sentiment situation where the sentiment towards the mining stocks is pretty poor right now. And this is creating a tremendous amount of opportunities. And I believe a good time to be greedy, not fearful. And, if you like buying bargains, there's a tremendous amount of them out there. I was preparing to do this show, and I actually found 24 or 25 companies that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to have to split this up into two shows. I'll do this one on Sunday, August the 27th, and then I'll have another one tomorrow, August the 28th. Getting back to that seasonal trend, as I said, the last week of August is often very similar to the last week of the year. After the tax loss selling, there's often a lot of cheap stocks out there that do perform very well as we go into the new year. And the same thing happens at the end of the summer. Now we've got serious bargains out there that I think will start to perform a lot better coming after the Labor Day weekend. And the backdrop of all this is that the sentiment for metal stocks is quite bad right now. And whenever the sentiment is bad, it's often a time to get greedy, because you can find some phenomenal opportunities out there where stocks are trading at really serious discounts. And I believe that's the case now. And then you've got sort of a double two-punch combination. You've got the seasonality play of late in the summer, and then you've also got that combined with the poor sentiment towards the metal stocks. And so I think there's lots of reasons to be very bullish on gold, silver, copper, and other metals that are crucial for our lives, and when it comes to monetary metals like gold and silver, you've got all these countries debasing their currencies, and with just rapid debt growth. And I think that this is ultimately a situation that will drive gold and silver much higher. Then you've got the combination for copper and other base metals that are critical for the electric vehicle revolution. Also important for the alternative energy sources. Copper is also very crucial for rewiring a lot of the countries that are on aging infrastructures like the United States. And so I'm very bullish on the metals complex, and I think we've got a lot of great opportunities out there in the stock. So I'm going to get started with those right away. Let me just share a screen here. The first company I wanted to talk about is Canadian Gold Corp. This is a company that Rob McEwen is the major shareholder, and they've got this Tartan mine project in Manitoba that's got me very intrigued. They announced their initial results from their phase 1 exploration program at Tartan, which is located near Flin Flon, Manitoba, including their first test at depth. They say that they intersected one of the best holes in the mine's history to 325 meters below the lower limit of the current resource estimate, increasing the vertical extent of high-grade mineralization by 61%. They hit 4.2 grams over 53.7 meters. which is the widest interval ever at the Tartan mine. I'm just going to pull that news release up here because there's some great information in this news release that I wanted to talk about. Let me just turn the volume up there. Okay, so yeah, they got this thick intersection, but it also had some high grade as well, 12 grams per ton of gold over 8 meters. This is what I really wanted to point out here, is if you look at this, this is where all the work had been done historically and the underground mining. And there's a pretty good trend of high grade with excellent continuity down to about this level. Much less drilling here. This is the limits of their historical resource. And then there was very little drilling down here. And as you can see, there was a historical hole of 23.8 grams per ton of gold over 12.6 meters, 9.7 grams over 4.15. Now, if you look at this trend, it looks like down here you could have a very big zone of high-grade gold mineralization, quite more significant than that near-surface stuff. And here they drilled an interesting hole for me because it's sort of on the outside of the high grade, but much deeper. And that's where they got that 12 grammer over 8 meters. And I think this opens up this whole corridor all the way down here to get much bigger. And so that's the plans. Let's see where they are here. First 3 holes. This first hole testing well beyond the limits of the resource, has the potential to alter importance of the Tartan mine. Not only are assay results significant, but so is the whole location. That's what I talked about already. They have more assays coming. They think they can grow the deposit quite significantly. They are advancing their project's permitting and engineering to lower the cost of production, reduce the technical risk while minimizing the environmental footprint. The company will be providing shareholders with an update on these items. The Tartan mine benefits from good road access, renewable electrical power that comes to site, and significant underground infrastructure. Their geological team is hard at work conducting regional prospecting around the Tartan mine to advance near mine targets to a drill-ready stage. Early results have been promising, showing the potential for additional high-grade gold in new areas. These are highlights from the quote by Ian Ball, who is the interim CEO and president. And so they're sitting on an excellent project. I believe that they have assays pending, and I think that this project is a lot more significant than the market is giving it credit for, especially with these latest results. So have a look at Canadian Gold Corp. The next company up is a sponsor of my shows, which is Puma Exploration. And Puma just had some news out that, again, is sort of being ignored. But I don't think it's, the kind of news you really want to ignore. What they said is that Puma Exploration intersects multiple occurrences of visible gold at depth. They've successfully demonstrated gold mineralization extends beyond the 100-meter depth at its 100% owned Williamsbrook project in northern New Brunswick. They've 24 holes for 3,475 meters were drilled at the Lynx Gold Zone as part of the Phase 1 2023 drilling program. More than 100 specks of visible gold were observed in 37 separate areas, with 16 occurrences located between 100 and 211 meters down hole. Gold mineralization appears to be constrained at the favorable rhyolite sediment contact, and potential bonanza grade veins are typically associated with carbonate alteration and sulfides. Assays from phase 1 are pending. Results will be announced when received. Puma's president and CEO is Marcel Robillard, who commented, "We are extremely pleased with this first phase of our 2023 drilling program and what we see in the core. There's tremendous validation of our approach and model when we can hit visible gold successfully, and multiple instances of it is remarkable. The mineralization, mineralogy, alteration, etc., all indicate that we are dealing with a large hydrothermal system that extends laterally and at depth. We are confident that we'll substantially add to the gold inventory at the Lynx Gold Zone as we continue to advance our 2023 program and beyond." So here's what has always had me quite intrigued about this project. As you can see in these purple and red circle zones, there's a excellent continuity down to about 100 meters. And they all follow a similar trend in their direction. And then look at all these occurrences of the visible gold as they're getting deeper. It's quite remarkable that they're getting all that visible gold in the right kind of rock packages. And I can see that they're going to have a lot of good news coming out. As you can see, here are some of their visible gold associated with their sulfides. And as I said, there's a lot of this visible gold. And so I think this company is going to deliver some excellent assay results when they get those back. And they have a very modest valuation considering the quality of this project. I think you want to do your homework and stay tuned for that news that's going to be coming up in the not too distant future. Another company I'm very bullish on is Dynasty Gold. They just announced that they completed 2,344 meters of drilling on the Thundercloud project, which is in close proximity to Dryden, Ontario. It's in a greenstone belt. It has the right kind of faulting for these orogenic gold systems. As they say here, drill core has been logged, split, sampled, shipped to the ALS Global Lab in Winnipeg. And now, if you send your core to the ALS Global Lab in Vancouver, it can take a long time because there's a big rush of core going in for sample preparation. That's really where the bottleneck is. And by doing it at this Winnipeg lab, it will enable them to get those results back a lot quicker. I think we could be within a couple weeks of seeing those assays. Now, this drilling was to follow up on the 2022 fall program where they hit some spectacular holes. They hit 70 meters of about 9 grams, and they also had some bonanza grades in there as well, with up to 246 grams per ton of gold over 1.5 meters, which was part of a 3-meter intersection of 151 grams of gold. So this system is a big gold system, and it's got this very high grade. And Ivy Chong, who's the president and CEO, stated, and I quote, "We have an excellent team of geologists working on the Thundercloud project. It includes Jim Rogers, who visited the property to study the surface outcrops and did a detailed review of the drill core. Jim has extensive experience with orogenic gold systems while working as the regional exploration manager for Gold Corp at the Red Lake mine. Our drilling crew is off on a short break while waiting for the assays. We are very excited about the potential to have found an important high-grade gold system. Also, that we would like to thank the Wabagoon First Nations for providing our accommodations and people that have been very helpful with our summer 2023 drill program, end quote. So, you know, this has all the hallmarks that I look for in an orogenic gold system. It's got the greenstone belt. It's got the faulting. It's got the secondary faulting. It's got the high-grade gold mineralization. It looks to be a big, powerful gold mineralizing system. And now the company also has a real expert in these orogenic gold systems in Jim Rogers, who worked for Gold Corp and at the Red Lake mine. So he knows what this rock is supposed to look like at depth. From the underground workings that he observed, and he also knows what it looks like in drill core. So having Jim involved is a very big event for the company, and this also comes as Rob McEwen not too long ago did a pretty significant investment in the company. So you've got a couple of guys that were important in that Red Lake mine. One of Canada's most important orogenic gold systems when it was in production of the high grade. It made Gold Corp one of the lowest cost producers of gold in the business, very low margins and very high grades. And that's the nature of these orogenic gold systems. And I think that's exactly what Dynasty Gold has. I'm a significant shareholder of the company. And they're a sponsor of my shows. And I believe that this company is going to have a lot of great news in the not too distant future. I think that their valuation is very cheap, considering that they've got a very tight share structure, only 61 million shares out. And they have some key investors and key geologists that are quite excited about this project, as am I. Do your homework on Dynasty Gold. Next company up is Goliath. I've been talking about Goliath a lot lately, and they're a sponsor of my show, so it enables me to do just that. But look at some of these results that they're getting. Just like a week ago, Goliath intercepts 23 meters of 21.08 grams per ton gold. Included in that was 14 meters of 33.75 grams per ton of gold equivalent at their Golden Gate feeder zone in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. And here's a lot of what I've been talking about. They had look at all these news releases with visible gold in the samples, and now the visible gold is turning into high-grade gold in the drill core. They're doing 18,000 meters of drilling, and they're really off to a great start. This company is going to have a lot of news out in the not too distant future. I think they're going to have great news flow as far as important news out on a regular basis. And the reason that I say that is I think that they have the most important new discovery in the Golden Triangle and maybe decades. This is turning into a spectacular project. I think that it has the potential of being a well over a 5 million ounce gold discovery. Those don't come along very often. The Golden Triangle is a very prolific mining region. And these guys have as I said, I think they have one of the best new gold discoveries in many, many years in the Golden Triangle. So do your homework on Goliath. I like this story a lot. I've done interviews with their management. You can find that on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or also on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. If you're not already a subscriber at my Substack, it's a great way to keep track of all the work that I do as far as commentary on the sector, commentary on companies, and then interviews with key management when they put out important news releases, and we get a chance to dig deeper into that. So have a look at Goliath Resources. I like this story a lot. Galantas Gold is also a sponsor of my shows, and they've got quite a combination of projects. They've got this their Omagh project in Northern Ireland. It has me feeling like I did when I first started covering Dalradian, when they were like a 25-cent stock, and ultimately went on to be a bought out at several multiples of that. Galantas has, I think, a very impressive project at their Omagh project, and it's got kind of a twofold way of going after it. One is that they've got this contract mining company that's going to do the near surface mining of the project. And then they've got the exploration potential. Now, this is an orogenic gold system that has hit a lot of high grade gold near surface. And the depth is wide open. And as you get deeper into an orogenic gold system, you often get higher and higher grades as you get closer to the heat engine. Right now, they're pretty distal to the heat engine, and but they've also found some interesting stuff that applies for both the underground mining and the exploration. They have a series of dilation zones. This is where the rock opens up and allows the gold-bearing fluids to make their way into those gaps. And the series of dilation zones that they've hit in their near surface drilling will help the contract miner, because they can focus in on where they're going to find good pockets of high grade mineralization. But the trend of those dilation zones also point you where you should go deeper. And based on all the key elements that they've found of an orogenic gold system, they're very high in the system, and yet they're getting bonanza grades, lots of high grade. Here you can see the trend of the dilation zones, and this will be important for underground mining, as well as the targeting the depth potential. Here you can see some of their mineralization. There's sulfides in there, quartz in there, brecciated, and this is still indicating that they're well above, very high in the orogenic gold system. But to be getting that kind of grade in that, sort of not the best area to be drilling in is quite impressive. And as they follow it deeper, I think they're going to get a lot of great results. And then they've also recently acquired this Galantas VMS project in Scotland, and it's coming out of the gate with some pretty great looking stuff as well. Let me get to it here. Here there was their first drill result from there. 33 meters at 1.88 grams per ton gold, 1.23% copper, and 0.5% of zinc. A lot of VMS deposits these days don't get that kind of grade over that kind of thickness. So this looks to be a copper and gold rich VMS. And when you look at the zonation of grade in a VMS, you'll often get a couple of different zones. Distal to the heat engine, you'll get a zinc, lead, and silver zone, and then as you get closer to the heat engine, you get copper and gold zones. And getting that kind of a hit is pretty impressive stuff. And again, this is another company that's trading at its near its 52-week lows, not its 52-week highs. And I think it offers tremendous value proposition with excellent news flow for both gold at their Omagh project, high-grade gold in orogenic gold system, and high-grade gold and copper at their Galantas VMS project. So take a look at Galantas. Another sponsor of my shows is Blackrock Silver. They gave you an update on their Tonopah West project and their Silver Cloud projects a few weeks ago. Tonopah is a project that they've been focused on for a couple of years. They've got a pretty handsome looking resource on it already with a lot of high grade silver in it. That reminds me a lot of the Las Chispas mine that Silvercrest is mining right now. And Silvercrest is mining silver at about $12 an ounce and selling it for over 20, and it's just a cash generating machine. In their first quarter of full commercial production, or their first 2 quarters of full commercial production, they've already paid down the debt to pay for building it, and they built up their cash position. That's the great thing about this Tonopah West project, is I believe it has realistic potential to be similar to Las Chispas, but also is their Silver Cloud project that's quite exciting, because this is an epithermal vein system as well. And they found one vein so far, and I use that word system on purpose because I think that they're going to find more of these epithermal veins around a place where they've already drilled into the boiling zone of an epithermal vein. They reported 1.5 meters of 70 grams per ton of gold and 600 grams per ton of silver. They undoubtedly have hit the boiling zone of that vein, and they've done a bunch of step out holes along the vein that those assay results are pending. Now, to put this project into context, it's important to look at what's around them. To their north is the Midas mine, which was sort of a company maker for Franco-Nevada and their efforts to be the leading royalty company in the world. That's a spectacularly profitable mine when it was in production. And to their east, immediate east, is the Hollister mine. Both of these are also epithermal vein mines, very high grade, low cost, money-making machines. And now Silver Cloud in that neighborhood has found a new vein with 1.5 meters of 70 grams per ton of gold and 600 grams per ton of silver. So as I said, they've tagged the boiling zone of the vein. They have a bunch of holes pending. I'm looking forward to seeing the results from that, because I think that they're going to be able to report a lot of very good gold and silver numbers. And I think that it's open for them to find a cluster of epithermal veins like the one that they've already found. So I'm very bullish on Blackrock Silver. Do your homework and check out that company. Aston Bay is not a sponsor of my shows, but I'm very bullish on this company's copper project called Storm Copper Project in Canada. They've, as you can see in these news release here, outstanding 100% drilling success rate, continues with their sediment-hosted copper system confirmed in an untested area of the Storm project. These sediment-hosted copper systems can be just phenomenally big, and some of the biggest in the world. And it looks like they've found themselves a new one. They intersected 18.5 meters of visual copper sulfides, chalcocite and chalcopyrite, between 339 and 357 meters. Which correlates with the prospective sediment-hosted copper horizon intersected in all diamond drill holes this season. They extended the apparent strike of the prospective copper horizon a further 2 kilometers to the west. The drill hole was targeting a large gravity anomaly located south of the Southern Graben Fault, as well as the fault itself, validating the effectiveness of gravity in identifying copper sulfide mineralization at depth. They did an untested fixed loop electromagnetic FLEM conductors located immediately south of that hole, indicating potential for further strong copper mineralization in the area. Successful drill results demonstrate further evidence of a belt scale copper system. So they don't just think they're sitting on one, they think that they're sitting on an entire belt. And that's pretty impressive stuff. Drilling continues at the Storm project with assay results pending and expected within the next 2 weeks. So we could see these results at any time now. Here they show you some of the breccia calcite and pyrite. This geophysics here you can see the geophysics. They're high density anomaly. As you can see, it's very big. This is 1 kilometer here, so you're looking at a 1.5 by 2 there, 3 or 4 by 1.5, 2 there, and they're also associated with these structures. And they don't show it on this map, but these geophysical anomalies continue all the way down here. And this is why they're talking about an entire belt of sediment hosted deposits. That means they could be sitting on billions of dollars worth of copper. And so what's interesting about this partnership between Aston Bay and American West Metals is that Aston Bay has a 20% interest and American West is earning an 80% interest. But Aston Bay will be carried through to a production decision for that 20%. So American West is the one who has to fund all that, and Aston Bay gets along for a free ride and not having to raise any money to do any of that work. So it's a pretty remarkable story for Aston Bay. They've sort of been one of these phoenix rising from the ashes stories. And I think that Phoenix has a lot higher to fly. So take a look at them. Next up is Sokoman. Sokoman has I think they've got a tremendously exciting new orogenic gold system in Newfoundland. And they've been at it for a few years, but what is new is that they found this 463 zone that has bonanza grades of gold in it, and it was in the deepest drilling that they had done. This is what you call a jewelry box hit, and they went at it from a couple of holes quite a distance away and targeting, but they didn't really get the kind of stuff that I think, and I'm skeptical as to whether they actually got into the 463 zone. But since then, they've done some more geophysics, and they've had a structural expert on the project who's analyzing the 463 zone and other high-grade zones in this orogenic gold system. And I think that work is going to pay off in spades, because it's going to help them to target that 463 zone and expand on it, as well as get deeper into it. And as you get deeper into these orogenic gold systems, you get closer to the heat engine, and that can often be a great place to find spectacular stuff. So have a look at Sokoman Minerals. Included in they've also got this Fleur-de-Lis project that really has me excited, because let me get to that news release. Here they announced this Fleur-de-Lis project, and they reported high-grade gold assays from surface sampling at Fleur-de-Lis, up to 14 grams of gold. But what is interesting is that they've done some work. Their team went over to Northern Ireland to look at the current Galantas area. I'm sure I butchered that name, but they see that there are the same. That's an orogenic gold system over in Northern Ireland. And they talk about seeing strong similarities to that, where the gold occurs as fine inclusions in pyrite and in quartz veins hosted in shear zones without much alteration or gold in the wall rock. These news results give us an additional target to follow up, although The main focus will be a cluster of gold and till anomalies in the northeastern part of the property, 20 to 30 kilometers to the northeast of the recently discovered gold values, highlighting the broad, widespread gold potential at Fleur-de-Lis. That comes from the quote by Tim Froud, who is the CEO of the company. And he says that their company geologists and prospectors recently toured the gold systems in Dalradian, Caledonian rocks in Northern Ireland. And they're seeing the same kind of thing that is over at Dalradian. And, you know, I started following Dalradian in my reports at 25 cents. And they were ultimately bought out for several multiples of that because they had found this important orogenic gold system. And it looks like Fleur-de-Lis has all of the same kind of stuff as you saw at Dalradian's big discovery. So they've got two great gold projects and a lithium project that is evolving. I'm most excited about the 463 zone at their Moosehead project and the potential to find more 463 zones and expand and keep following them deeper. Really, in these orogenic gold systems, Moosehead is still very shallow drilling down to only about 400 meters. And these things can go down several thousand meters. In the case of the Red Lake mine, when they started getting into the bonanza grade stuff at 1,000 meters, and it continued for another over 1,000 meters, and that made Gold Corp a cash-making machine. And that's one of the reasons I like orogenic gold systems so much. And I think Sokoman has an important one at Moosehead. I think they've got the potential for a new one at Fleur-de-Lis and Fleur-de-Lis. And then they've also got the lithium project that has me quite intrigued as well. All righty, so I've went a little longer than I had anticipated in the first 2, 4, 6, 8 companies. I've got another 16 that I want to talk about, but I don't want to make this show too long today. So I'm going to cut it at that and close by talking about what I started talking about, which is the trends that I'm seeing in the mining space right now. You're at the end of the summer, so you've got this seasonal pattern of weakness. Then you've got poor sentiment for the industry, and this makes for tremendous cheap bargains out there. And whenever I can find a lot of bargains, it's often a time when you see a rally happen not too long after that. I still remember back to the early days of the 2001 to 2011 bull market, and there was a lot of great companies trading at really cheap bargains, and then the industry went on a decade-long bull market, and I think we're in for something similar to that. So taking advantage of these steep discount sales due to sentiment and seasonality are, I think, going to be really lucrative for investors that have that kind of a philosophy or investment plan. On that note, do your homework, speak with your financial advisors, go to these companies' websites, check out their news releases, check out their corporate presentations. I do cover a series of companies that are sponsors of my show. They pay me a fee. It enables me to do all the work that I do, not just on them, but for non-sponsors and the sector in general. So you can consider me biased. But whether I'm looking at a company that is a sponsor or a pick that's not a sponsor, I look for the exact same things, and I focus on the exact same things. I focus on the news that these companies have, but I really do this for my viewers. The viewers, I'm trying to be part of your due diligence process and do that homework. I'm sort of light some fire for these companies for you to check out. But then it's important to speak with your financial advisors and do that homework. On that note, have a great day and we will talk to you soon.